Hey everyone, Dr. Michael Breus, the sleep doctor here. The Dolphin Chronotype is one of the trickiest of the 4 chronotypes. Years ago, I wrote my 3rd book, The Power of When, where I talk about all 4 chronotypes. But here's a secret. I wrote it specifically for the Dolphin Chronotype. A typical dolphin has very fragmented sleep patterns, and they are my group of sleepers who also tend to suffer from insomnia. Unlike some of the other chronotypes, this is a group that tends to find motivation in spurts, and they have a really hard time finding a solid pattern of sleep and productivity. But look, your chronotype is genetic, which means it's baked into your DNA. And so if you are a dolphin chronotype, it's not about necessarily changing that chronotype, but it's about learning to live and structure your life around who you really are. And let me tell you, in the years of working with people who are dolphins, I've had some great success stories. I recently had a chance to talk with a viewer named Megan, who was able to find some great ways to embrace being a dolphin.
I have always had difficulty sleeping for as long as I can remember.
Even as a young girl?
I'll say, yes, so as soon as 10 or so, I remember my first sleepless night and being upset hearing my alarm clock go off.
So one of the things we know that really helps dolphins is structure. And this can be a little counterintuitive because dolphins are very unstructured people. But one of the things Megan tried and had success with was setting a series of alarms.
Initially for me, it was really setting reminders, as silly as it can sound, setting an alarm clock when the light should go off and having those kind of recurring reminders every day really made a difference. I'm finally finding that some of those are becoming more natural to me.
The other thing we know about dolphins is that insomnia and anxiety have a tendency to go hand in hand. Managing your anxiety can be a great first step to getting better sleep. And the key for Megan was making meditation and breath work a regular part of her practice.
How do you manage your stress?
One of the things that started this journey for me was starting to meditate. I had actually landed myself in what I didn't know at the time, but believe must have been a panic attack, and brought myself to the emergency room to hear a doctor tell me, maybe you should try yoga or meditation. And it didn't feel real to me. I think that's the first time it really rang true that this is something that I need to pay more attention to. So I started meditating twice a day.
We also know that dolphins tend to wake up with some level of anxiety, and structure helps lower this anxiety. Having a structured morning routine like Megan's works. What I loved about Megan's morning routine is that she met the challenge head on by starting her day the right way with fitness and outside time.
I do 10 minutes bouncing on a trampoline. I listen to my show tunes and I freestyle and I get a good workout. I would say that is my incentive for waking up. From there, trying to get outside if I can. I'll take a walk when I get into being near work, typically having a protein shake in the morning and then meditating and getting to work by 9.
Wow, that sounds like an awesome morning routine.
It's become one of my favorite parts of the day. And most of the time it won't happen if it doesn't happen in the morning.
Yeah, so that's true for dolphins. Also, because dolphins have a tendency to wake up with some level of anxiety, they have to do something right after they get up to be able to lower that anxiety. And if you can do something physical, it works significantly better than just trying to mentally kind of get there. So I love the idea of you on the mini tramp.
Now, the one point of difficulty we found with Megan was that she had 2 parts to her week. 2 days a week, she commuted from her home in New Jersey to New York, and on those days, she had to be at work at a very particular time. The trouble was on those other 3 days a week when she worked from home. She did great work sticking to her routine, but it was a little bit harder. Given that dolphins do better with a little more external structure in their days, we came up with a plan.
I got an idea. So your boyfriend and you seem to be able to make a pact and then stick to it pretty well.
Yes.
So here's my idea is I want to draft your boyfriend into your morning routine.
Okay.
You're allowed to hit the snooze 1 time. And then after that, we give him the right to not drag you out of bed, but you know what I'm saying? Like motivate you to come on and get out of bed and start this routine. Because if I had to guess, most days that you do this morning routine, you have a good day.
It's true. It's true. And I think the snooze is adjacent between both of us. It's something that we both utilize more than we should. So I'll even set a second alarm farther out so I don't need to snooze every 5 minutes, which is, I think, cheating.
Yeah.
But so maybe not that.
Here's what you need to do is take the alarm clock. You're going to set it across the room.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to get your butt out of bed to actually turn it off. Right. You're allowed one snooze. And then if you can move towards this routine more, that is going to 100% help, because your big issue right now is waking up and hitting that snooze button. And to be fair, you're doing so many things correctly so far.
Yeah.
That I think this is not as hard as you might think. I think it's kind of one of the last little tweaks that's kind of left in your whole routine.
But look, overall, Megan has done some incredible work and added structure to her sleep and work with her dolphinness in a really productive and powerful way. I was thrilled to hear from a dolphin who was really thriving. And her last question I thought was terrific.
At what point might I ever not be a dolphin?
Great question. Great question. So here's what we've discovered is with some dolphins, when they follow all the recommendations within 6 months to a year, turns out that they weren't a dolphin. It was more circumstantial, right? Mm-hmm. So they had a terrible boss that was making them wake up at 5:30 every single morning, driving them crazy, those kind of things. And another chronotype kind of starts to bubble to the surface. Sometimes that happens. That's usually more reserved for people who are in situational stuff. You told me I haven't been a great sleeper since I've been 10 years old, right? And so the likelihood that you're not truly a dolphin is probably not there, okay? But as you get older, you go through a stage of what's called chrono longevity. You actually move into a different chronotype. So have you ever noticed if your grandparents are still alive and you said, hey, grandma, grandpa, I want to go to dinner, right? They'd say, hey, let's go at 4:30, right? And you're like, what is wrong with you? Who eats dinner at 4:30? It's because their circadian rhythms and their melatonin production is being moved earlier and earlier in the evening, which means they go from being a wolf to a bear, or from a bear to a lion. And in many cases, we see dolphins become lions almost overnight. And it's all has to do with the consistency of what you're doing. But honestly, girl, you are crushing it.
Listen, dolphins can face a ton of challenges with their sleep. But I'm a firm believer that working with your chronotype can set you up for success. And Megan has done an amazing job of doing just that. Many thanks to Megan for letting me hear her story. And for more tips on how you can work with your chronotype to get the best sleep, check out my video on that right here. This is Dr. Michael Breus, the Sleep Doctor, wishing you sweet dreams.